Oops. Oops, there we go. All right. Here we go. So, I want to do a little video, share some of my experience, yeah, whatever, with dealing with skeptics and atheists. And because you can waste a lot of time talking to skeptics and atheists, and you need to go to the heart of the problem. They always want to take you off on a rabbit trail or a red herring trail or whatever. So what you need to do is go directly to the subject. And believe it or not, the first thing you should be talking about is that of the creation, because if there's no supernatural creation, then you're totally lost. You lose the whole. You're going to lose the whole discussion, the whole argument. So you have to establish the fact of the creation. Well, how do you do that? You show that, well, there was a time when time was created, because of the fact that creation can't make itself. No physical thing can make itself. No physical thing can order itself. So that means there was a time when time was created. So now all of a sudden, that could have been any time in the past, and you wouldn't know when that was, when the creation happened. So once you establish that it was a supernatural creation, then you can, demonstrate or show that it could have been any time. And the only thing we have to go by is our historical records and genealogies and see what they show. And because, of course, there's a whole lot of proofs of a young Earth. There's all kinds of proofs of a young Earth. If you want to study that, you can line up a whole bunch of. Because there's more proofs of a young Earth than there is of an old Earth, because it's just too young. With the James Webb, they're seeing stuff they didn't expect to see, but it was stuff that we knew all along was there, because we knew there was a creation in the not too distant past. So once you establish that there was a time when everything was created, then you can start talking about human history and all that stuff, and talk about the human condition. We were created, and then something happened to the creation, and it's all downhill now. And this is the main point. One of the main points when talking with skeptics and atheists, they don't want to admit the fact that we're suffering from genetic entropy, and that this world is suffering from having been destroyed once already, and it's suffering from a curse because of who we are and what we are, the things we do and everything. Most of our problems wouldn't be problems if we only did the right thing, if we were doing the right thing, if we were following God and being faithful, and telling the truth, being honest, not tricking your neighbor, not trying to get over on everybody, but trying to help everybody, you know, not trying to take advantage, working hard. Like David said, or one of the Psalms said, that, never saw a righteous man go hungry, you know, because you work hard, you produce for yourself, and you produce for everyone else. especially if you're head of a household or something. You're not only helping yourself, you're producing for an entire family sometimes, or a whole family, or missions, or good causes, or whatever. But you're always producing, and that's important. But the interesting thing is that, oh, Iron Man, how you doing? Been a while since I've seen you, so welcome to the live stream. Yeah, so there was I was talking with somebody. Hello, Doki Doki. God bless everybody. How's everybody doing? Working? Oh yeah, working. Yep, have to be working. Yep. So I was talking with somebody, and they kept on saying that, trying to say I didn't understand science or biology or anything, and I kept on pointing out little things here, little things there, and what you really have to show is that there's, the fact of the curse world, the genetic entropy that we're suffering from. Because, I mean, if any honest scientists will admit that we are suffering from degradation of our DNA, you know, if they can't admit that, then they are the ones that are having problem with the science. And speaking of the time when time was created, if they can't admit that no physical thing can make or order or direct itself, then they are the ones that have a problem with science, not us. We are being consistent with what the evidence shows. We're being consistent with the scientific evidence is. They are the ones that have the problem with science. Science is on our side, always. The truth is on our side, always. Because to begin with, we believe what the Bible says the truth is on our side to begin with, because no one else addresses the state, the human condition, and the solution for the human condition. Nobody else addresses that adequately. The only one that does is those people who say that only your create. That's why you have to start out with creation. That's why creation is so important. You were created once. Now you have a problem. Now who can we look to for help? We have to look to our Creator. And who's our Creator? Our Creator is Jesus. Jesus, who came and became one of us. And he became our perfect provision. He became the last Adam. We're all descended from the first Adam. And Jesus is the last Adam. Yeah, something doesn't come from nothing on its own, and life doesn't come from non-life. Right. It's a very important. If they can't, face the fact that the truth that no physical thing can make itself exist, and no physical thing can order itself or direct itself. They can't face that. They're the ones with the problem with the science, the problem with science, not us. So yeah, so I was talking to this guy, I think even this morning maybe, about the genetic entropy. Well, first we're talking about mutations. He says you don't know anything about mutations and mutations, and then I said, well, what's the percentage between beneficial mutations and detrimental mutations? And he didn't give me a good answer. He said something like 15%, but it's not even close to that. But he was just trying to, avoid the problem. And then he lists some supposed beneficial mutation. So then I just said, well, look, we already have Neanderthal DNA. Their genome is much larger than ours because, of course, they had better eyesight, better sense of smell, better hearing, stronger frame, stronger muscles and frame, and larger brain, and they have genome to account for that. It's the same thing with a dog. These, what do you call them, pet dogs or pocket dogs or whatever you call them? You can guarantee that they don't have the same size genome as a wolf or any other dog, basically. You can guarantee that they have lost a lot of their genome. Their biggest comeback is you're just ignorant and uneducated. Right, that's why we have to focus on their mistake. Their mistake is not acknowledging creation and not acknowledging the the only solution for our condition. Yeah, it's hand waving. But I guess that's basically it, what I wanted to say about that. Um, it's very important. All you have to do is just start with creation, show that no physical thing can make itself, because if the universe can't make itself or hasn't been around forever, then that means there was a time when everything was created. And that time could have been any time. And if you want to know, there's a solution for the distant starlight problem, too. It's called general relativity. That easily solves the problem because time is only slowed down where we are inside of a galaxy. If you go outside of a galaxy, time speeds up dramatically. And of course, time slows down even more if you get near a black hole. So right there, you're talking about, well, what time scale are you going by? Because everything going into a black hole looks stopped to us. If you're going straight toward a black hole or over the horizon, they're still moving, but they're moving so slow relative to our rate of time, which is much faster. It's a rate of causation because it's not only time that is slowed down by gravity, it's distance is slowed down by gravity, which means if you get away from a gravitational well, that means distance expands, stretches. Same distance stretches. 1 meter will be stretched. Not only that, time goes by faster. And that changes the rate that things occur. It's called the rate of causation, the rate at which things happen. In other words, the clocks run faster because things are happening faster. Everything happens faster because that's why clocks run faster when you get away from a gravitational well. So that right there, as far as I'm concerned, solves the distant starlight problem because between here and the next galaxy, there's no matter to slow down time. There's no mass or matter to slow down time, so that distance expands, which means it's not as far as what they think it is. So it's already getting here faster. The light's already getting here faster than what they think it is because the distance is not as far as what they think it is, because they're using our measure of distance to measure out to another galaxy or whatever. So, right, just because of the distance is expanded, it means the distance is smaller, not greater. If it's contracted, it means there's more distance. In other words, the distance to the middle of our black hole, the Milky Way, Sagittarius A star, the distance to the middle of that is farther away from us, literally farther away from us than the most distant galaxy detected by James Webb telescope, because we can see it. It's redshifted, but we can still see it. But if you're looking into the gravitational well, it's the light coming from out of the black hole is so far away, it would be redshifted out of our spectrum. We couldn't even see it anyways. And I've seen scientists say that. They admit it. I've seen, if one scientist doesn't admit something, you have to go listen to a whole bunch of different ones and see what the other ones are saying. Because some of them scientists are going to be covering up the facts, while the other ones, they don't care, just telling you what it is, or they don't realize the ramifications of what they're saying or something. But anyways, you put it all together and you can make a lot of sense out of it. So it's a fact that the most distant galaxy detected by James Webb is actually closer to us than our own Sagittarius A star. Because the closer you get to the center of the Milky Way, the more contracted distance is. It means there's more measurements in between us and there, which it makes it makes it farther away, farther away. And then between us and another galaxy is closer to us because the distance is expanded, so there's less measures between us and the next galaxy, so it's closer. It's like this is all general relativity and things that are so obvious. If you do the thought experiments, you just keep on doing the thought experiments, and you can, after a while, you figure it out. And this is stuff that Einstein talked about. He talked about the variable speed of light. Believe it or not, Einstein himself talked about the variable speed of light. And a lot of people say that he just discounted it. No, he just stopped talking about it so much because people didn't understand what he was saying anyways, and they would just, probably discount him or whatever. Anyways, but even after they say that Einstein stopped talking about it, there's quotes of him talking about the variable speed of light well after they say he stopped talking about it. So that's not even true anyway. So there is such a thing as a variable speed of light, but it always runs at the rate of 186,000 miles a second. The speed of light is always 186,000 miles a second. Always. But the way you measure speed is with time and distance. And when time and distance change, that changes the speed. It's really very simple. It's very simple when you think about it, when you do the thought experiments. It all makes sense. So that means light is arriving where we are, almost instantaneously compared to, because, you could even have 13 billion years of time pass by. It's just that the 13 billion years of time passes by much faster between there and here. It's that because the rate of causation is faster compared to our slow motion rate of time because we're in a gravitational well of the Milky Way galaxy. It all makes a big difference. And then the thing that I noticed was when they start talking about, the spiral arms of the galaxies are moving too fast. No, they're not moving too fast. It's just that the rate of causation is faster the farther away you get from the center of the galaxy. And then they measure superluminal motion. The first superluminal motion they talked about was a star that exploded, and the clouds from the explosion were moving faster than the speed of light, according to their measurements. But no, they're not moving faster than the speed of light, but it looks like they are if you use our measures of time and distance. But when you get away from a galaxy, the clouds moving away from the galaxy, it's not, the causation is not at our rate of causation. The rate of causation is much faster when you leave a galaxy, the center of a galaxy. Then they have these plasma jets shooting out. They had one paper measure it. They said, oh, from here to here, it was going 7 times the speed of light. 7 times the speed of light. And of course, that's not physically possible. It's not physically possible for light to arrive before it left. But what is possible is that the rate of causation changes. The measure of distance expands, and the rate of time goes by faster. So that way, light has to arrive, what seems to us to be farther away, light has to arrive there faster by our measures of time and distance, because it's a greater distance, but it still has to get there 186,000 miles a second. It's just that 186,000 miles is much more stretched out. So it looks to us like light is going faster, or the movement is going faster, the plasma jet or whatever it is. So then they come back and say, oh, well, that was a mistake. You know, nothing can go faster than the speed of light. Yeah, we all know that. They said, oh, well, what it is like the light was already headed our direction, and they didn't calculate the angle right or something. And they said, well, if you add the speed it was already coming to us with the angle and everything that it was traveling, and then they said, well, it's not traveling faster than the speed of light. It's traveling almost the speed of light. But wait a minute, the most you could get is, 2 times the speed of light, depending on what their measurements were or whatever. The most you could possibly get was 2 times the speed of light, but that's even violating the principle of a moving train, which is that when you shine the speed of light on a moving train, it's not going to go any faster than 186,000 miles a second. So they're saying it goes, almost 2 times or whatever. But wait a minute, the measurement was 7 times the speed of light. Not at the speed of light. But anyways, they said, well, if you calculate this, calculate that, it's only moving almost the speed of light. But still, the measurement, when they first measured it, was 7 times the speed of light. Not 2 times, not almost the speed of light. It was 7 times the speed of light. So they still didn't explain away the problem. It's still moving much faster than what it's supposed to be moving anyways. So much for that. But as far as I'm concerned, the light's arriving much faster than what they realize. And probably it's been traveling for 6,000 years, and now we can see it. Anyway. But, you could do the math and everything, figure it out, but they say the effect is not that much, but nobody's ever been in between the galaxies to measure how much gravity there is, or compare. Nobody's been there to compare the rate of causation between galaxies, so nobody can really say. But from the evidence, the fact that we can see the distant starlight means that it's arriving to us at a faster rate than what our rate of time is, from what our rate of causation is. So that right there just explains it all. That's why there's nothing to worry about, because we know the truth, we believe the truth. There is no other truth. There is no other Savior. It's the Creator Jesus Christ. But anyways, I was looking at this other one. Maybe I'll screenshot. I'll present here. So I was looking at this XY chromosome. There's the mitochondrial, the X mitochondrial DNA. And it was pretty interesting because I wanted to know if it went to Central America or not first. So this is the X mitochondrial DNA, because if you remember, there was an X up here in the Great Lakes region, and there's an X down here in South America. And I wanted to know, well, when did this migration happen? So the first mitochondrial DNA went to Central America about, according to their estimation, 20,000 years ago. Well, this is only 1,700 years ago. So this one here is probably from the time when they did go to the Great Lakes region from the Mediterranean in the days of King Solomon, when the Phoenicians were at peace with Israel, and the Phoenicians had total control of the Mediterranean routes. And they're the ones that migrated all the way to the Great Lakes copper mines, the ancient copper mines in the Great Lakes region. That's right, why all the Indian tribes around the Great Lakes, they have the X2A maternal mtDNA haplogroup. As well, they also have the R1B, which is a Mediterranean Y chromosome haplogroup. The paternal R1B is also in these tribes all around these Great Lakes areas. So, and that would have been in the days of King Solomon. The only time it could possibly have been would be in the days of King Solomon, when the world was at peace and the Phoenicians were bringing everything in for the temple, the gold and silver for the temple, and from all around, and part of it would be the copper mines. Now this date here is 1,700 years, which is not very much. But still, there is the indigenous tribe. They don't know how it got this mitochondrial DNA. But let me back up a little bit and see when they first arrived in the Great Lakes region here, according to their dating method. There's 8,000 years. See, so if you cut it in half, it'd be 4,200 years. And that might be a little bit old too. I mean, a little bit excessive too. So that could be the days of King Solomon. Whereas the other ones are more like 15 and 20,000 years old. The other mtDNA haplogroups. But I just wanted to check this X2A, or this XY chromosome, see when it went. See, this is X2A right here. This is in the Azores or near, well, all it is a node for where other lineage can branch off. But they have it right next to the Azores. But it is X2A right there. So that's what we're talking about, and that's when that would be the days of King Solomon right there. When the X2A, because the X2A is also found in Galilee today, and the X2A is around the Great Lakes region. So that's consistent with the days of King Solomon. Now this other one, I don't know if they had another migration route, went to Central or South America, but apparently there's an Indian tribe or native tribe here that has the same X haplogroup, maternal mtDNA haplogroup. So we move ahead in time. That's 7,000 years. There's 6,000 years. Cut that in half, 3,000 years. And it's already spreading out from there. And now, 1,800 years, it's in South America. Anyways, you can't argue. That's why these haplogroup migrations are so important. You can't argue with them. Of course, they have excessive dates on them, but if we cut them in half, or it's probably a certain rate, you cut it in half or almost in half, or cut it in thirds sometimes, and they'll give you the more correct date, depending on probably some kind of curve that we could use to determine the appropriate date when the migration happened. But like if I put in like another haplogroup, say the D Eurasian haplogroup, this is a D mitochondrial. It's a Eurasian mitochondrial haplogroup, be the daughters of Japheth, whereas the other ones, the A mitochondrial lineage, is the daughters of Shem. Okay, hold on. I gotta double check this thing here. Oh, it's just yep. Oh, okay. All right. All right, here we go. So these are the nodes, and these are the daughters, actual samples of the daughters of Japheth. The D haplo of one of the daughters of Japheth. So the D haplogroup is one of the daughters of Japheth. We'll back it up in time, if it'll cooperate. Uh-oh. There's a lot of information here. When it's a lot of information, it has trouble keeping up sometimes. Okay, here we go. So let's go see when this is well, we'll put it all the way 20,000 years ago. There it is. Just so you know, I'm not making up stuff. 20,000 years ago, the D haplogroup, the Eurasian D haplogroup, is already in the area. Now, this was before they spread out all the way east. So this D haplogroup would be much more or much closer to the Mesopotamian area. In fact, everything started out from the Mesopotamian area. And my suspicion is that the first ones to arrive in Central America through the Mediterranean to Central America were the descendants of Nimrod with a C haplogroup, because of the fact that Nimrod is the first king of the world. And Nimrod is the first one who conquered. The Bible said he starts out in the lower Mesopotamian Valley, and then he built up that area. Then he moved up and built Babylon, which is the upper Mesopotamian Valley. And so what city did he build in the lower Mesopotamian Valley? None other than Akkad. So Nimrod and his descendants are the Akkadians. So he moved from Akkad, went to the upper part of the Mesopotamian Valley and built Nimrod. This is according to the Bible. The Bible actually says this. So in other words, the Bible talks about Akkadians. And of course, we know Abraham was a Sumerian anyways. You know, people like to say this, like to act like, you know, oh, you have Bible history and then you have ancient history, which is separate from the Bible. No, it's not separate. It existed simultaneously. It existed at the same time. But anyways, so the first one to reach Central America, that would be probably the ones who had the Olmec statues that look Polynesian. But they were probably the first ones there, and they were probably the ones responsible for building the megaliths, because they built megaliths over here, and they came to Central and South America, and built megaliths there. And this D haplogroup shows that it's the oldest migration there, 20,000 years ago. And we could do the same thing with the C haplogroup as well. Because the C is another daughter of Japheth. So we'll look at the C and follow that migration route. And you can see that 20,000 years ago, and they're already in South America and most likely Central America. But of course, we don't have all the DNA evidence, but we have some of the DNA evidence, and they're showing a migration into South America, which, if you follow the Q haplogroup, goes to Central America first from off the coast of Africa, and then spreads north and south from Central America, just like that. Okay, that's the nodes. Here's the daughters. Make sure we got the daughters of Japheth. And there they are. Okay, we'll back this up if it'll cooperate a little bit. Okay, there it goes. All the way. Back it up all the way. 20,000 years. 20,000 years, same date. And look where they are. This is the C haplogroup. They're already in South America. And probably Central America too. Probably where the Olmecs were too. But there it is. There they are, all already in South America. And how they get to, let's go ahead in time and see how they got there. Because obviously they got there, but then the dates, there it is. That's how they got there. Boom. And by that time, they're spread north and south already. This is the Native American population, by the way. The C haplogroup of the mitochondrial maternal lineage. And we already saw the X. And the A is the same thing, only I'm not so sure if it's going to go back 20,000 years, though. We'll see if it goes back 20,000 years. I might go back 15,000 or something like that. But then again, that's their dating method, anyways. Might not even be correct as far as that goes. But it shows. I mean, it clearly shows that they were already in South America, and somehow they got there. But the reason why the mitochondrial DNA jumps around so much is because there's less mutations, because it's a smaller set of genetic information. It's not nearly as much genetic information. Okay, there's the nodes, and notice how they all have the same pattern. They all have the same pattern. It's like there's no way you can make up any story, right? Can't make up a story. There's 20,000 years too. Yep, the A haplogroup, this is the lineage of the daughters of Madai. In other words, this Madai asked to marry one of the daughters of Shem. This is the Semitic lineage that of the daughters of Madai. It's the only one that accompanies the Q. It's the only Semitic lineage that accompanies the Q to South America, or Central South America and North America. So let's go forward in time. Watch the same thing. Watch it jump. See if it. Oh, there it is. Boom. There it is. Boom. Central America, right there. Central America, and it spreads north and south from Central America. And it's possible that there were other migrations as well, other lineages. If there's other lineages, there's other lineages. But I mean, this is like a huge study. You could spend days studying this stuff, studying all these migrations and everything. But I think it's a fascinating thing that they even have this available for us to even look. And there's never been any papers that I know of that talk about an Atlantic migration. But here you can clearly see an Atlantic migration. See, back this off a little bit there. See that? It's an Atlantic migration. And boom. And who knows, this might be the wrong route anyways. But we know, we go to the Y DNA, we'll go to the paternal side of the lineage, and we'll check out the sons of Madai. So the sons of Madai, which is the Q haplogroup, they arrive in South America the same way. As a matter of fact, it's a more detailed route that the sons of Madai take, because there's more mutations in the Y chromosome than there is in the mitochondrial DNA. So it's with each mutation you can follow where people have been, where people went to. Okay, hold on a second. I got a phone call here. Let me see if I see what I can do here. Hold on a second, just a second. Okay, there we go. Sorry about that. Sometimes you got to answer, sometimes you don't have to answer. Anyways, here we go. See what we got. These are the nodes. These are the sons of Madai. There's the sons of Madai. I mean, this is amazing stuff that we can follow these lineages. Once you identify them, you can see where each lineage went. Now, if you notice, I've backed this down out to 16,000 years ago, but somehow they don't have it. They only have it like, no, that's not 16,000. Is it 60? No, it's 161,000. They got it backed out to 161,000 years. No wonder the thing doesn't work very well. In other words, we're going to go forward in time for a couple 100,000 years with nothing happening. And then whenever it does happen, it's about 38,000, 35, 32, 28, 23,000. There we go. 23,000 years, then it starts happening. 19,000. There it is right there. Now you can see the migration route. The Medes went up into Europe. You can see the descendant of Madai, one of the descendants, the paternal sons of Madai, up in Europe. This is the area where the Medes or the Q haplogroup is in Europe. And it's the area where the Medes were known to have migrated to as well. Again, if one of these facts were inconsistent, it would throw the whole thing off. But the Medes are known to have been here. It amazes me every time. I was watching, I guess, Matt Man's video one time. They said that, or somebody said the Medes were in Europe. So I had to go quick check to see if the Medes were in Europe, and sure enough, there's the Q haplogroup. And then they said Tubal. Somebody said Tubal was in Italy. They were the first ones in Italy. I said, uh-oh, I have K designated as Tubal. I better go see if the K is in Italy. And sure enough, 8% of central Italy today is K, from the descendants of Tubal. Again, if one of these things were off, it would throw the whole thing off, or you'd have to correct what your assumptions are, right? But the thing matches up so perfectly. It's really amazing. Now, watch as the Medes go to conquer the king of Lydia. So the Medes are in this area here. See this? I don't know if you can see this green spot. This green spot is the area of the Medes, where the Medes were in this area. Uh, so yeah. So this Q, the origin is in this area of Turkmenistan or whatever, right on this side of the Caspian Sea. So watch how the Medes, when they go up against the king of Lydia, because the Medes tried to conquer the king of Lydia. There it is, because that's where Lydia was, right here. They tried to conquer Lydia, the king of Lydia, and they were unable to conquer the king of Lydia, so they made a truce. But anyways, they kept on going off the coast of Africa. There's a node here. And what do you know? They went to Central America right there. They landed right there in the Dominican Republic. What do you know? Right in the Caribbean, right in the middle of the Caribbean. And they're already going north and south from there. This is the Q haplogroup of the Medes. And look at Now it says 13,000 years ago, 19,000, 17, 17,000, 17, 16, 14,000 years ago. But it's not going to be that much different than the maternal line. And of course, it isn't that much different. Anyways, it's like, what is it, 15, 14,000? It's hard to move the cursor because, there you go, 14,000, it's 15,000 years ago. It's hard to move the cursor because they got 100,000 years of history with nothing happening on the scale. They just got to reset the whole thing is what they should do. But anyways, I don't know if it's a conspiracy to get people not to connect things together or whatever. But there you have it. This is when they went against the king of Lydia and had to make like a pact with the king of Lydia. Then some of them went through the Mediterranean all the way to Central America. Now this is, of course, would be after the descendants of Cush or the descendants of Nimrod went to Central and South America. And of course, the descendants of Nimrod are also the descendants of Cush. There's Cushites in the Americas. And they probably built some of the megaliths. But then in the days of the Medes, which was later, it wasn't the same time as the descendants of Cush or Nimrod went to Central and South America. It was a later time when the Medes came through. But it still wasn't that much far removed. And they followed probably the same route to Central and South America. So, and I haven't heard or seen any studies that show this evidence or information of how the Native Americans got to America. Anyways, there we go. See what's going on, everybody. Okay. They don't want to believe. Yep. Let's see, the Christians sodium channel. Salt. Yep. We got who claims something came from nothing? It's Lawrence Krauss does. Because you either have to say it came from nothing or it was already there. But the problem is that energy is always going from order to disorder. And it can't order itself back up. It's like Humpty Dumpty. He can't put himself back together again. Energy can't reorder itself, but because it's always going to disorder. So that means energy is not the cause of energy. It's not the cause for existing or being order. You need to believe. Well, we need to believe the truth. What the evidence shows. There's never been nothing. Well, you have to define the nothing that you're talking about. But in this case, nothing, we're talking about physical things. There was a time when there was no physical things existing because there was a time of creation, which is the kind of the point of this video that I'm making today, is that there was a time when there was nothing, and then there was a time when there was a creation. And since there was a time of creation, that could have been any time in the past, before all the historical records we have, and the historical records that we have go back 5,000 years. That's the calendars, that's genealogies, historical evidence goes back 5,000 years, with the exception of the Bible, which goes back 6,000 years. So the Bible has history going back 6,000 years. So that very well could have been the day of creation because of the fact that there was a time of creation. The substance of creation cannot be the same as substance of God. I think. Yeah, I don't think it's the same thing. No, I know it's not the same thing because the universe and the molecules we consist of are a real fabrication. We are a real fabrication, but we're a mere fabrication. That's why it doesn't matter to God what we do, except for the fact it should matter to us what we do because we're going to be judged by what we do. See, I have heard it said matter is just very slow light. Well, matter is energy. You could call it light or whatever, but it's energy. It's basically energy, yeah. Or photon, yeah, photon, whatever. Yeah, it's kind of like light. It's not slow. It's just bound up. It's bound up energies. It's bound together. In other words, it's like put together. It has to be put together for it to exist as an atom, as an atom, and then of course the atoms stick together like make molecules. But to be an atom, it has to be forced into existence. Okay, so your assumption there was a creation. My assumption is that the cosmos has always been. Right, but that's why I said that the cosmos is running down and it can't run itself back up. So we could safely say that it never did run itself back up because it has no way to order itself. It's always going from order to disorder. That's why and how we can establish that there was a day of creation. Since there was a day of creation, it could have been 6,000 years ago. And how are we going to know? Because we only have history going back 6,000 years. We have every ancient civilization, which I was covering, is from the 16 grandsons of Noah. It's cyclical. No, that would be invoking an infinitely bouncing ping pong ball. And you should know from physics that you can't have a cyclical, infinitely bouncing ping pong ball. It's not physically possible. See, so all these scientific facts are telling you, showing you that there was a day of creation and that you have a creator. And that you need the creator to be recreated again because of the fact that we're degrading. We're in a state of degradation as individuals and as humans because Neanderthals had a much larger genome, smarter head, better vision, better hearing, better sense of smell and taste, and stronger frame and everything. And we are literally a skeleton of what humans used to be, literally, because of the degrading genome going from order to disorder. Again, it's just a fact of life. It's a fact of science. It's a scientific fact. Evolution isn't science. Creation is science. Trinity has always been source. Father, Son, time, motivation, Father, Son, Holy Spirit. Sequence. A proposition has not been falsified. Okay, up still. We have geological data, fossils, carbon dated, tectonic shelves, tons more data that's way beyond 6,000 years. It's literally misinformation to say history go back 6,000 years. No, you don't know that history is older than 6,000 years because we have a history. This is why, you got to start as a kid. You got to start as a kid because there's so much information and knowledge to learn You got to start, and before you try to learn science, you need to learn ancient history before you even try to do science, because you're going to make a fool of yourself if you try to do science without understanding ancient human history, because we're all descended from the 16 grandsons of Noah. Every original ancient civilization is from one of the 16 grandsons of Noah. They even bear the names of the grandsons of Noah. The Arameans came from Aram. The Lydians came from Lud. The Assyrians came from Asher. The Elamites came from Elam. The Cushites came from Cush. The original first Phoenicians came from Put. It goes on and on and on. The Medes came from Madai. These are the original civilizations. They are from the grandsons of Noah. And if you don't understand that, you're not going to understand it. You're not going to make sense of anything. Besides the fact that when you establish that there was a global flood, you will then understand that we're standing and living on top of the destruction of the earth that existed before the global flood, because there's only sediment layers all the way down, and they're all consecutive mega sequences, 6 mega sequences of flood sediment layers underneath us, all the way down. And this is a fact. This is a fact of geology. It's all flood sediment layers with samples of life that existed before the flood. It's a scientific fact. The global flood is a scientific fact. It's not misinformation. It's the fact. It's the truth. It's it's very important, because there's so much you have to understand. There is so much you have to understand. And misinformation is anybody who is claiming evidence or claiming history without any evidence. You don't have any evidence of human history before 6,000 years. You don't have it, because everything that we find in the earth is from after the earth was destroyed and deposited all the flood sediment layers. It's on top of the flood sediment layers, and there's so much evidence. There's the glacial striations in South America, South Africa, India, and Australia that show that there was glaciers stamped on the continents before they broke apart, which had to have been after the global flood, because the sediment layers were deposited first and then they broke apart. There's so much evidence. There's so much stuff you have to learn and understand. So much you have to know. And, you could spend all day, but you have to, in order to learn something, you have to listen, and you have to listen to somebody who knows what the facts are. You have to learn from somebody who knows what the facts are. God, his own version of what we know as time. Well, God's time is instantaneous. We exist in slow motion, and God exists. He said, "I am." He exists instantly. He just is. Entropy only happens in a closed system. Yeah, and the universe is a closed system, and the genome is a closed system, and the Earth receives energy from the sun, and it still doesn't mean there's no entropy. It means that the universe, everything is running down and running out. You think the sun is going to last forever? No. You think the sun can order itself? You're kidding yourself, because there's no way that the sun can create itself. For one thing, because energy can't create itself. And energy is always going from order to disorder. An observation that has been confirmed through experimentation and or other means accepted by the true scientific community. There is no true scientific community, especially if you're talking about skeptics and atheist scientists. They are not the true scientific community. We are the true scientific community because we have the truth backed up by science. Evolution has no science backing it up. Billions of years has no science backing it up. The closest you could get would be distant starlight, and I already explained that in this video. And even so, you know, if there's a creation, it means that there was a time of creation and not too distant past, because no physical thing can make itself, no physical thing can direct itself, no physical thing can order itself. Scientific facts are different from hypotheses or theories. Right, and evolution is a hypothesis and theory. The the law of thermodynamics is a law until proven otherwise, which intend to explain or interpret facts. In science, nothing is ever considered true beyond a shadow of a doubt. Well, I can tell you something true beyond a shadow of a doubt is that you were created, you have a creator, and only your creator can recreate you. That's an absolute fact of knowing the truth. Real science, real ciencia, real knowledge, real understanding. It doesn't matter who came from where, that's irrelevant to the data that we have. If you reject the data, please explain that instead of breaking down the human family. It does matter. It does matter who we are and where we came from. That's why I've been able to identify all the haplogroup designations, with exception of the mitochondrial DNA. You can't trace the female names like you can the male names. So, but all the male lineages, I have them all the way to down to each grandson of Noah. And try to do it faster. The whole something from nothing is a Christian view. God just poofed it all into existence. Well, either that or it's magic and it poofed itself into existence. Which one do you want? You want to go against science and say that matter and energy made themselves and directed themselves and ordered themselves and wrote all the genetic information for all the different animals? That's not science. That's your faith. That's a belief in what's not true. You're bringing up geology. Go ask random geology how old the Earth is. I just went through it. I explained it. Since there was a time of creation that had to have been or could have been old just before human history, and our human history goes back 6,000 years. In fact, the genealogies going back before the flood are more accurate than the genealogies after the flood. See, ask 100 random geologists how old the Earth is. I don't care what they think. They don't know. I know how old the human history is, and I know there was a creation. And why can't the creation be 6,000 years ago? You don't know. You weren't there. Scientific Fact, huh? Wasn't. What peer-reviewed geology science journal can I read about this global flood? I just told you about it. You got to listen to what I'm saying and understand what I'm saying, because you probably don't even understand the words I'm saying. Lawrence Krauss said it. No, that's not the accepted scientific consensus. Who cares about the scientific consensus? They're all a bunch of uneducated people that discount known human history. There's rebuke and reprove. Shalom. So far, so good. You do know there is a tree that is older than 6,000 years. Tree? No. You can't go by tree ring chronology. It's a made-up chronology. It's not an actual date. I can't spend that much time on this stuff. You got to learn. You got to learn this stuff for yourself, and you got to study this stuff on your own. Learn for yourself. The Earth. Well, of course, the Earth is a closed system. We all know that. But the universe isn't a closed system. Where's the energy coming from? And all we see in the universe is it going from order to disorder. We don't see any extra energy coming in. I learned C, the letter speed of light stands for causality. So in science, the speed of light, speed of causality. Yeah, there's a speed at which things happen, or actually it's instantaneous. The speed of light or causality without gravity is instantaneous, which is reason why we can see distant starlight, because without gravity, C is instantaneous without any gravity. It's only with gravity that causality slows down. And when causality slows down, that's when time can be measured and distance can be measured. Because if everything's at the speed of light, there's no time or distance. Physical, created time or distance. Time itself is a creation. Time itself is a creation. Be honest, ask yourself, what would happen if you asked, I don't care about 100 geologists. I don't care about what they say. I know they believe things that aren't true. You guys are looking for aliens. You guys are believing in invisible matter, invisible inflatons, and things that don't exist. And you believe in evolution, which doesn't exist. So they discount themselves. Anybody who believes in evolution doesn't even believe in science, because evolution isn't scientific. You're believing a fairy tale. Tree rings aren't necessarily annual. That's true. Dunning-Kruger effect. No, you got to talk specifics. Don't talk in platitudes. Hello, Jill. Okay, cool. So, no true Scotsman fallacy. No, we know something is true. And I told you what the truth. Well, pick up a book. No, if you go through my videos and ask me if I didn't pick up a book. Okay, why are you quoting the entire field of geology then if their science doesn't matter? I'm not quoting the entire field of geology. I'm just telling you what geology is. It's 6 mega sequences of 100% flood sediment layers. And then on top of that, on top of the bedrock is what we call soil or other sediment layers. Erosion, layers from erosion, layers from dust or whatever. But from the bedrock down is 6 mega sequences of flood sediment layers. And that is your evidence of the global flood. You're standing literally on top of the evidence of global flood. Like, how can you deny the global flood when you're standing on top of what was left from what was, after the destruction of the entire earth? The earth was destroyed once already. That's why everything's getting worse even faster. Clearly, you already have the answer, right? Well, yeah, I do have the truth. I do have the answer. Only your creator can recreate you. There is no other truth. There is no other answer. More hand waving. Yep, they like to hand wave. Blessings, Brother Timothy. Trying to keep up in the comments. This is all obvious post hoc rationalization combined with no true Scotsman. No, try to say something relevant, okay? I'll be talking this fallacy and that fallacy and this. Try to say something specific. Try to come down to earth and say something rational. Evolution is not a fact. Things change for the worse. Natural selection could be overturned, but only with evidence. Well, I mean natural selection. It's called reproduction, and the information to reproduce is not natural. It's not from a natural source. Show me a natural source that can make the information for a selection to begin with. Yeah, evolution doesn't work. Evolution doesn't exist. Not one shred of evidence for evolution. Yep. Not one. The universe has always existed. How do you know? How do you know it wasn't created? Because it can't create itself. Can't spend too much time. Can't spend too much time. What? You cannot have a nothing. Cannot have a nothing. Well, you can't have a nothing. You can't have a something make itself. Obviously, there is something other than the physical world. Obviously, because the physical world can't account for itself. Think about that. See, I'm sorry, but the title of this video is How to Testify to Atheists and Skeptics, and no skeptic is ever going to be willing to listen to you when you say that only you know the true science. No, tell me something I don't know. Tell me something new. Genesis 1:1. You need to go back to the drawing board. You need to go back and study human history and learn scientific facts. Learn about entropy. Learn about the law of thermodynamics. Learn that energy can't make itself. Energy can't direct itself. Can't order itself. You need to learn science. And learn science from somebody who knows science, because people that believe in evolution obviously don't know science, because they believe in magical morphin monkey fairy tales. See, if you do not believe in evolution, you should stop going to the doctor, because all biology is based on, no, it's not based on it. Biology is not based on evolution. Biology is based on the genetic information that can't write itself. Think about that. Krauss is he's a confused person. Very confused. I couldn't even believe Krauss said that. Krauss says everything came from nothing. Like, no, that's not science. It's not even science. How can you come up with that? And Richard Dawkins says, oh, I don't know how that could be, but scientists say everything came from nothing. Doesn't make sense to me, but that's what they say. Use your own brain. God gave you a brain to use it and think it. Even though it's degraded, your brain is degraded and degrading all the time. Use it, what's left of it. You'll thank yourself and thank me for it too. I asked, what would happen if you asked 100 random? I don't what, literally don't care. No, I don't care about people that believe in evolution. That's not science. I don't have time to spend too much time on this. You will never convince me or anyone else with that. What? Science? The fact that energy can't melt? Okay. Go to a scientist and tell them that you can have free energy. You can show them free energy. You can show energy making itself. And then go tell them that energy, look, made a teddy bear. This energy went and made a teddy bear. Tell a scientist that. Come on, please. Regardless of what they say, they have no proof. Nada. Nada, none, zero. Zero, none, none. Okay, buddy, ask a random scientist if that's true. A random scientist, tell the random scientist to come talk to me, and we'll see what's true and what's not. Tell them to come talk to me. Let's see if he'll say that energy made itself or directed itself or ordered itself or anything else. Again, I don't have that much time to argue. Andrew Snelling, geologist. There you go. There's a scientist right there. Reading the Bible is what makes atheists, and no, because you don't understand what it's saying. You don't understand what I'm saying. How can you understand what the Bible's saying? You have to learn from somebody who knows. The problem is you learn from everybody who didn't know and didn't understand. That's why you don't understand. Okay. And don't kid yourself. You are not a critical thinker. You are not a critical thinker because you are believing unscientific things. Unscientific things. You believe it. Okay. What specifically would change your mind about the Great Flood having occurred? No, well, you would have to get rid of the 6 mega sequences of water deposited sediment layers. Can you do that? No. So why ask a question like that? You can't get rid of the evidence for the global flood because there's 6 mega sequences of water deposited sediment layers, one on top of the other, stacked on top of each other, miles deep. And okay. Snelling is a beast. As a good geologist. Narrative proof evolution. No, there's no proof. There's zero. Every claim of evolution has been disproved. Every last claim of evolution has been disproved. Speciation being the most of them. No. Adapting to the environment, responding to the environment, it happens because of existing information. It doesn't happen because of mistakes or mutations. It happens because the genome is responding to the environment, which is part of what the information is. Sitting around and contemplating your navel. He has several lectures on Genesis history YouTube channel. That's Andrew Snelling. You're all hilarious, clueless. Keep on posting. Well, you haven't told us anything. You haven't disproved anything we've been saying. Scientific consensus means nothing when you believe on scientific things. If you believe that matter made itself and ordered itself, energy ordered itself, then you're believing an unscientific thing. It doesn't matter what the consensus is. The consensus has been wrong more often than not. That's a fact of history. Show me. Here we go. Myriad. Okay. Name the proof. Make your case. Majority opinion. Oh, this is probably not going to be able to keep up here. I'll just skip down a little bit. See what we got here. Host. Thanks for the non-answer. I gave you the answer. We have a creator. Only your creator can recreate you. He's our only solution. Don't look for anything else because matter didn't make you. Matter didn't write your genome or order your genome. Don't kid yourself. You're kidding yourself. You're believing in fantasy. You're believing in mythology. Show you what? Show me another cause other than the creator. Show me energy making itself. Show me energy ordering itself. Show me matter making itself and matter directing itself. Show me. You can't. Just like you can't get rid of the flood sediment layers that are miles deep in places. The scientific method for everyone. Well, I'll tell you what science is. Science is knowing what is true, what you can verify. So science is what you can establish as being true. However you determine that is the scientific method, where you do tests and stuff like that. So show me a test where energy makes itself. Show me a test where energy orders itself. You can't, so don't even waste your time. Don't waste my time either. Which, but I have to help, try to do my best to help people. I have to be patient with all the miseducated people that spent their whole lives learning nonsense. Okay, so one paper experiment that proves evolution. Of course, they don't have nothing. That evolution has never been verified. Every claim of evolution is disproved. Every last claim of evolution has been disproved. Germ theory, that's germs are microorganisms. What are you talking about? That's genetic, from genetic information. You don't know that? Genetic information doesn't write itself. Show me genetic information writing itself. Natural selection produces cancer, death, everything going extinct. Entropy. Everything's breaking down. Even your own genome is breaking down. That's why you die. That's why you're going to die, is because of genetic entropy. Do you know what theory is? Oh, what's this? Forget this. Okay. Okay. You can't have free energy. Energy cannot be created or destroyed. Right. So how can you have a universe making itself? How can you have animals making themselves? That's just nonsense. You have to have a creator, because no physical thing can make itself or direct itself. You know, making me repeat myself. A theory is a collection of facts and explained hypotheses. Wow. You guys ever looked outside the Bible for anything? Well, you can word it however you want. You don't have to word everything the same way. You don't have to think like everybody else. That's why I'm jungle jargon. I have my own thought process from the jungle. Um, Obviously, I don't need scientists' help that believe in evolution, magical morphin monkeys and aliens and invisible matter and invisible inflators and all kinds of nonsense. Trying to, looking for excuses not to believe in a creator. That's all it is. It's not science. It's looking for excuses to not believe in a creator. Trying to disprove the creator. Be my little secret. Uh, as if I don't know what goes on outside the Bible. You're kidding yourself. As if. Still a little guess. Okay, hydrogen and oxygen are two different things, but when combined in a particular order, they become something new. Imagine that. No, you don't have to imagine. All you got to do is look. I mess with it all the time in my shop here, just like the beginning of our known universe. Yeah, but hydrogen can't make itself, and neither can oxygen. Energy can't make itself, and it can't order itself, can't direct itself. Yeah, I split water molecules all the time, make hydrogen, oxygen. You don't even know what the. Never mind. You guys have nothing now. Trust me, man. Well, I only had trouble crossing the street when I went to England. It was a little bit confusing, but you get the hang of it after a while. You learn to look the other way. As a matter of fact, I've had more impressive success than being able to walk across the street looking both ways. I've been had a lot more success than that for sure. No, God is a fantasy mythology. What? No, God is no. No, God is real. God is true. He tells the truth. He told you the truth from the beginning, and you don't believe it. We have a history. We have a history of 16 ancient civilizations from the 16 grandsons of Noah, and you don't even know about it. How are you going to know the truth? How are you going to understand science when you don't even know where you came from? Matter and energy cannot be created or destroyed. How thick can you be? What? Yeah, of course it can't be. Well, it obviously was created, and it can be destroyed too, but not by itself. It goes from order to disorder by itself, but you don't know how it was made, so you don't know whether or not it can be taken apart or unmade. I mean, obviously, it was made. It can be deconstructed. We know that. We split atoms all the time. Let's see. No science. Here we go. Nope. Never. Trying to get to the end. Host maybe should write a paper and prove all biology wrong. No, it's already been. Evolution has already been proven wrong. You don't need me to disprove evolution. Biology consists of information that can't write itself. So right there, you should know that you have a creator. Energy can't make itself. Right there, you should know the universe has a creator. That's science. Theology is the highest level of science. Theology has already been there and done that. You have no idea. Please explain the Big Bang. No, the Big Bang is an assumption. It's your assumption, the Big Bang, and people are questioning the Big Bang all the time. Anyway, and it is an assumption. It's based on the idea of an infinitely inflating universe because of misinterpretation of the facts. Okay, that's nothing. Don't have to worry about that one. Okay. Yeah. Question your own Big Bang. Okay. How about consider something else? Consider the fact that the energy of the universe can't make itself. It can't order itself. It can't order the stars and the universes and galaxies and stuff. Can't order anything because if you have hydrogen, that can't order itself either. The first thing was supposed to be hydrogen. That can't conglomerate. Hydrogen repels itself. It can't put itself together. So right there, you have a problem. See, host, it was not made as no. You don't know it's always existed because you don't know that it made itself because it can't make itself. So how do you know it wasn't created 6,000 years ago? You don't. You assume it because you don't want to believe what the evidence is. The problem is that witnessing is subjective, anecdotal. It's not reliable or credible form evidence. No, witnessing is just testifying to what the evidence is, to what the truth is. And I could go in more detail, but don't have a whole lot of time with everybody asking so many questions. No, you couldn't. I couldn't what? I can't make it. You can't make it. But the Creator can make it. Anyways, yeah, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. That's for sure. However, there's tons of proof to the contrary. Anyway, hope everybody's blessed and learns some science, learns some truth, some knowledge, some ciencia. And your conscience is your conscience speaking truth to you, and you either reject what you know is being spoken to you, or you just say, okay, well, it's true. We do have a creator. Yep. We do have a creator. Yeah, what time is it anyways? Oh, yeah, I better get going. All right. God bless everybody and take care. And remember that you have to have a creator. You have to have a creator. And since you have a creator, it could have been 6,000 years ago and you wouldn't even know it. God bless everybody. Take care.